How's it going, guys? Thanks for checking it out. I want to take a look at a feature in Logic Pro that has saved me on more than one occasion, and it's about how we can get different track mix alternatives and how we can kind of go back through. And there's an extra little feature in this that I want to show you that you may not be aware of, so let's check it out. So here I've got a mix of a band that came around a little while ago. I've been kind of just tweaking stuff and getting a mix just so it's kind of at a listenable point. You'll see at the top here, it's called Better Sessions. The track's called Better, and then it's Better Mix June 2024. So typically what will happen when I do a session, I will do the whole recording and then I'll give the band a mix at the end of it. Now, it's not a mix in the traditional sense of I've mixed this. It's more of what we call like a board mix, you know, so it's just straight off, nothing too much on it, a few things tweaked here and there, and that's just kind of their working mix so they can hear what they've done. And invariably what will happen is you'll then go and mix stuff and the band will say, it sounds cool, but we kind of liked whatever instrument on the board mix. Can you go back to that? No, I can't, because I can't remember what I did, and I've changed it loads since then, but there's actually a feature that allows you to do it. So this is Better Mix June 24 at the moment. If I go to File and then go to Project Alternatives, well, I've got three alternatives here. I've got Better Session, that's the board mix, and then I've got Better Mix, which is when I've done a little bit to it, and then Better Mix June 24, this is when I've done a little bit more to it. I'd say that a good rule of thumb here is that every time you kind of come back to a mix, just create a new alternative, because it means that you can then go back to things, but you don't need to do that on a full scale. So let me just show you what I mean. So for example, if I wanted to go to the session mix, for example, I can just click that, I can save this, and it's just going to open up the version that was like the board mix, you know, the session mix. Okay, here it is. Looks the same, but it's going to sound different. So let's track back a little bit though. They didn't like the full board mix. They just liked, let's say, the bass in the board mix, and they like it how it sounds in the full mix, but just the bass we want to change. Okay, so let's go back to the June 24 mix. I'm just going to go back to File and Project Alternatives. Let's go back to the June mix. So we're back at the June mix and a different alternative. You may remember, if you've seen my channel before, that I did a video on how to go back to previous sessions. So if you want to change, if you want to get like the settings from a guitar track of a different song, then you can just bring that into a session. I'll put the link down the bottom and maybe at the top if I remember, because I'm really bad at remembering that. But essentially what you can do is go over to the right hand side and go to the, what's it called, audio browsers. There you go. And then I'm in my hard drive, Studio, the band called Hand Down, and then in Better. So this is the place where it's all stored. So if I go to Better Session, then this is where all the stuff is stored. This is all the mixes. If I double click on that, it will bring up all the tracks for the session itself, and I can import just individual track data. So if I want to bring in the bass guitar from one song, then I can bring it into this mix. But look what happens. Double click on it. It's got Project Alternatives. Let's bring that over. So we're in Better Mix June 24, so that's grayed out because we can't take anything from that because we're already in it. So they wanted the bass from the session mix. That's fine. I'm just going to go to the Better Session, click on that one and go OK, and it's going to bring it up here. So this is the state of that the mix was in at that point, the session, the board mix. Let's go to our bass. Where's our bass? Here it is, nice brown. So at the moment I've got an Ampeg SVT on there and virtual mix rack. Let's go to the bass. Let's just copy across. I'm not going to take the content, we're just going to take the plugins. So I'm going to check plugins. I've got bass selected. Just check what happens here. I'm just going to go to replace. It's taken it back to its original state. It's not done it on a full scale, so it's not like you have to have that full mix or you have to have this full mix. Because alternatives are great because you can create an alternative mix. You know, you can do one vocal up, vocal down, or a shorter version or whatever it is. But sometimes you do a mix and it's cool, and then you move on from that, but you want to get a little bit of the certain instrument from the previous mix, and you can do that in here. So Project Alternatives, great way to create alternative mixes that you can then go back to and say, well, that was what it sounded like at this point in time, and you can just kind of move through stuff. But also you can go back to individual instruments from an alternative and say, I like the bass sound on that one, let's put that in. And maybe we like the, I don't know, the overheads on this original, then we can just go to the plugins and we can select overhead hats track and just say content of the plugins are there, let's put that over on this one. And we can just be really picky about which particular track we want to put on. Really handy feature, really cool addition that just kind of helps you stay on track of stuff and allows you to just go back in history and say, well, what was the good parts of that? Let's complete a mix from the good parts of all the mixes that I've done. Because if you're anything like me, you're never really satisfied with the mix. You never really think that what you've got is the best thing in the world. You always think, oh, I wish I could get it back to what it was. Well, using this, you can. So I hope it's useful for you. Thanks so much for checking it out. See you again soon. Take care.